right, let's get all of our stuff turned on here. I know that this is going to be an amazing time, not because I am here and my middle name should be fun. I think I'm going to legally change my middle name. But I have had so much conflict in the last 24 hours trying to put this together. Everything I touched broke yesterday. That is the screen of every computer program I tried to run yesterday. I literally sat, we are a long way from where I live in Lansing. I sat on the bus with my Wi-Fi and looked at that screen almost all the way here. Finally at 20 to 9 last night, I said, I'm done. I'm done. God, you're going to have to move because I can't get any of my programs to work. So, I think it's going to be a great day. Now, who had breakfast today and kind of met me with the mirror introduction for just a brief moment? Oh, see, I warned you. This is interactive. I don't need this. Now let's try that again. Who met me this morning and had a brief introduction? Thank you for that hand. You were warned. This is an interactive service. And what happens is if you sit there and stare at me, I am going to get so nervous. I'm going to forget everything that I've planned. But if you actively participate with me and you expect God to move and to speak to you today, that we're all going to leave here changed in some way because of His anointing and His presence, oh, we are going to have fun. I run a gym, and nobody in my gym trusts me when I say, this workout's gonna be fun. They're like, your definition and ours is a little different, so I'm okay with that. Today I'm gonna talk to you about living life with purpose and with passion. Fun people. We like to live life with purpose and passion. All right, everybody ready for this?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be a minute. Maybe we should stop and take a coffee break. All right, I'm going to start with the Insta story of my life. I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to give you the Insta story version. Anybody familiar with Instagram, social media, Facebook? You know that when you put your Insta story out there, you have taken 12 photos of every single angle trying to get that photo. And then you end up using a filter anyway. So you know, the Insta story version of my life, I have been happily married for 32 years. Amen. I met my husband at 17 years of age. I have 5 wonderful men of God sons. They're actively involved in missions, or missionary in their churches today. You had quite a span between your 6. 24 to 5?
Good job.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
5 and 7 years, sister. 5 and 7 years. And ironically, number 3, the only one I planned. The rest I tried not to have. So I stuck with that. My husband and I have been running a business in the Lansing area since 1990. I've actively been involved in ministry since I was married, so for 32 years. I am the current Pan Am champion, world champion, and national champion in Olympic weightlifting. All right, now let's talk about reality. And those are my kids. We actually all went to the Smoky Mountains. It's our favorite place to go in Tennessee. We rented a cabin that slept 21, which is good because there are 20 people in that picture. So, do you notice there's like pink and purple? That is my first interaction with girls, and I was just telling you, they're a little different. Girls, they have feelings. I learned when I told my 3-year-old granddaughter to suck it up, sister, and she fell apart on the floor. And I'm like, what in the world? I said, suck it up for 30 years. Girls don't like that. So today we're going to talk about living with purpose. Oh, if this iPad keeps turning off, that's not going to be fun. The reality is, I was raised in a physically aggressive and verbally aggressive home. I was never told the words, I love you. So, and what that does is, even in not being told you're loved, what happens is, you get the opportunity, am I going in and out? Should I change microphones, or, I don't know, should I just stand right here like this. All right.
We can handle it.
All right. When you're not told certain praise and certain good, positive things, you get to fill the narrative in. And when you're a child, you fill that in with, I'm disgusting, I'm not loved, nobody wants me. And so that was my reality. My reality is I used works to try to get the words on my ears. 4.0 student. First chair in band. Pulled up to varsity my sophomore year for softball. I tried so hard to get love on my ears. I used my sense of humor to have people laugh at me because it felt like they loved me with that. And so I grew up, that was my reality. I had no self-worth, crippling insecurity. I was telling him this morning that when I first started singing, I knew I liked to sing. I knew I loved to sing. But I used to stand behind a microphone stand and hide. Now, I was a lot skinnier back then, but it wasn't because I was so skinny. It was a barrier between you and me. And I was comfortable that if there were several people in the group, I could do that because there's a good chance you're looking at the other people and not me. So then to step forward and say something or to sing a special, not this girl. I ended up running away from home my senior year in high school. Because I was going to a private school, I then started working 2 jobs and going to school in between to try and pay for my private school education. So I worked then. I married the month after I graduated high school, and I worked 2 jobs for the next 5 to 7 years. And the reality is, I am happily married today, but I worked out a lot of issues in that marriage. I remember the first disagreement that Dave and I got into. I grew up in a volatile house. And so when we got in an argument, we just told you, I hate you, you're ugly, you know, blah, blah, let's go get some food. And we were just that way. Dave's family was the timeout family. So I am really out there, compared to his upbringing. And I remember we got in a disagreement, and he went to grab my arm, and I pulled back. Don't touch me when I'm mad. That was the way that I responded in those years. So I worked out a lot of issues in my marriage. My reality began to switch over to my current day Insta story when I was about 22 years of age. I was sitting on the couch, having had my second child, and I freaked out. What am I doing having kids? I am too messed up for this. I was fully convinced that I would be the exact same kind of parent. I didn't realize that I could alter and change my path. And so I had a freak out moment. Thankfully, at that time, we also began to be plugged into a really good church. And so I began to go to Bible study. Now, when you are so messed up on the inside and you have no sense of security, what you do is you put every hair in place. You go into your closet and you look for the outfit that will make you look less messed up. And you just hold your head high and you smile. And you hope no one asks you how you're doing. Because you can fake it. And that's what I did. Have you ever wondered why you go into a closet that's completely filled with clothes that you bought and you can't find anything to wear? It's because you're trying to put it on. I tried to put it on. And so I began to go to church, and I began to sit there during this ladies' Bible study. The only qualification that I had was I owned a Bible and I was a woman. That was it. I learned how to drink coffee in those years. I hated coffee. Ugh. I tried it with sugar, it was gross. I tried it with cream, it was gross. I tried it with cream and sugar, it was gross. But if you drink it long enough, you get used to it. So I learned how to drink coffee, and I just sat there. And one lady would share her testimony of how she was struggling and how God brought. And I'm like, well, I've had that crazy thought. And this lady would share about how her and her husband had had intense fellowship and how this and that and how God. And I'm like, well, I've had those thoughts. And I sat there long enough that I realized that my version of too jacked up for Jesus was normal. There's nothing that's come upon you that's not common to somebody. And I began to find people who were real and who were transparent. I struggled with love at that point. I knew God sent a son for you. And I'll tell you that all day long. But I was just kind of hoping to sneak in when he wasn't looking, when you walked through the doors. And so one day, I asked God what he thought of me. And if you're struggling with your identity, I want to challenge you. Get alone and ask God what he thinks about you. And what happened for me was his presence filled my room. And I was surrounded with a hug of acceptance. I knew I was created for a purpose. I knew that if I was the only one, he would have sent his son to die for me. I knew he was crazy about me. And I knew I was accepted in the beloved. I walked with my head higher after that because I knew who I was in Christ. He's a good father. I took a picture of that screen. I always send it to my dad whenever we sing that song. I'm like, hey, look, they're singing about you again, Dad. So I told him, I said, truly, you're a good father, and I'm blessed that you're mine. I began to, I sat on that couch, I asked him what he thought of me. And then starts the hard work. Norma was talking about daily seeking God. I daily put myself on the potter's wheel. I knew I wasn't where I needed to be, and I knew that there was more. And the only path to get there was to daily say, it's in Psalms, God, if there's anything in me that offends you, remove it. I am so thankful that that good Father that we've been singing about doesn't just strip us down to the bones and say, yeah, you're a hot mess, let's rebuild you from the ground up. It's like layers of an onion. He says, okay, this layer, it's got to go. And you fight it. But God, that layer? And then you realize the good Father has my best in mind. Okay, God. And now, after a few layers, I have to admit, I got to the place I got kind of tired of working on me. I was pretty sure Dave should hop up on the wheel for a while. That's my husband. And I'm like, God, but he gets to get away with this? Why am I always the one that has to walk in love? Why am I always the one that has to forgive? And so I began to beseech God for Dave. And don't do that, ladies. Your list for you gets so incredibly long. You're like, I'm okay, God. Leave Dave alone. I'm good. And I remember one of those layers was my tone. Oh, I pitched the biggest 3-year-old fit. My tone now matters. Oh, I can't handle this. I didn't think I'd ever get there, but I put myself on that potter's wheel. Now I'd like to say, I have not arrived. Because if you're not in the Word daily, you're not in His presence, you get a little, if you get bumped into in Target, you can't always guarantee Jesus falling out if you're not renewing your mind daily. Right? So we got to get on that potter's wheel. And why do we do it? We do it because we know that there's a God who loves us, who's crazy about us, and that when He gets done, we're going to be better than when we got on that wheel. We have to trust that. Layers of an onion. We're going to strip them out. We're talking about purpose. And so I wanted to define purpose and passion. My type of living during those early years was head down, and life just happened to me. And what I mean by that is I ran away from home, and so I'm already on the run. I've got all of this debt, so now I need to get 2 jobs. I chased jobs that I didn't necessarily always like or always want that's not why I live and breathe, but that has cash attached to it. And so I need to be cleaning toilets and scrubbing houses because that has a bill, that has a paycheck at the end of it. Head down. I mean, The harder I tried not to have kids, the faster they came. It just felt like everything happened to me. We had no money. My motivation was cash. We never discussed having any children. And I'm panicking as 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then of course 5 is a boy. What else is it going to be? We never put our ministry calendar. We knew we were called to be in ministry, but we never put that calendar on the altar. We just took the dates. And when you take the dates, you're all of a sudden full, and you have no time, you have no money, and now you got stress because you're tired. You're doing good things, not God things. I got so busy working in our business and not on our business, then you look up and that's a hot mess. Life just continued to happen to me for year after year after year. 5 kids, homeschooled, 14 games a week. Get in the car, let's go. Grab all that stuff. Life just happened to me. Until the day I was getting ready to be married for 25 years, and my youngest 1 or 2 children, I don't know, it gets fuzzy the farther you go down. I have to start out conversations like, okay, was that you? Do you remember this person? Because I don't know if that was you or your brother. I don't remember a lot about, those were quick years. There was 18 months between 3 and 4, and 13 months between 4 and 5. It's amazing we all lived. I firmly believe you can have a midlife crisis, and you got to get a shiny new car, or you can have a midlife evaluation. Where am I at? What am I doing? What do I enjoy? What don't I enjoy? And I had a midlife evaluation. I looked back at 25 years of marriage and raising kids and had made the decision in that moment, in that evaluation, I want to live before I die. Life was happening to me. I'm already in my 40s. My youth is fleeting. And all I have left to do is get old and die. I want to live. And so I began to seek purpose and seek passion. Purpose defines as the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And this is the one that I liked. Have as one's intention. I call it intentional living. Stop letting life happen to you. Be intentional about your life. And passion. I'm like this all the time, and I don't know what makes me any different than you that aren't like that every day of your life. I don't know how else to show passion, because you always relate it to love, a relationship, but it's not. It's a strong and barely controllable emotion about the things that you're doing. I want to stir you up today to stop existing, to realize that you have a purpose in this life. And I wanted to stir you up that you intentionally find out what that purpose is and live it like this for the rest of your life. Norma, you did a wonderful job. Your passion in a bottle. I loved watching. She's hands and she's movement and I'm surprised we didn't do any fitness or fitness. It was all that, and I love that. All right. My definition of living your life is with intention. Stop chasing the job for the cash, and what do you enjoy doing? So your children, finding the passion and the purpose and intention in raising them the way that you should raise them. And for your career and what you're doing, to find the purpose and the passion in that. I asked some friends to define their idea of living life with passion or purpose, and I put it together, and I want to share it with you right now. Maybe.
What your purpose is. Why are you doing what you do? Why are you striving for what you're striving for?
To know that God, my Creator, my Redeemer, has called me to a purpose that is bigger than me, and yet somehow needs me in order to be accomplished.
You'll work at it because it becomes important.
If you have a kite and you let go of it, it will go wherever the wind takes it. To me, that's somebody that doesn't know their purpose.
So you discover your purpose, and in fulfilling that purpose, you become passionate to to make sure that you make a difference.
Purpose touches the part of me that makes me feel alive.
Whatever that purpose is for you, whatever it is, it's what drives you and keeps you going. Even through the adversity, you're still there. Even through the pain, you're still fighting through it and you're still there.
You can be more like a rocket ship, shooting really fast and hard and high right toward it.
Oh, I like that. That's true, because if you don't have that propel of something bigger than you thrusting you into your future, then you're just going to wander aimlessly and not be able to finish what God's called you to do.
When you become passionate about something, you become sold out the whole route.
So lose all of you and gain all of Him, and it's going to be so much easier to fulfill who God created you to be.
With a purpose, for a purpose.
With a purpose, for a purpose. That's what we're going to do. In work, I found this quote. It says, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. But working hard for something we love is called passion. And so some of the steps that I began to take, and here's what I want to share with you, how I got from reality to Insta story, how I got from living and having life happen to me to living with intention and living with purpose and passion. Nothing, and the disclaimer is this is not a stir you up message so you go quit your job, leave your husband, and ditch your kids. That might be peace, but that's not what we're going to do. So I began to infuse intention into the things that I was currently doing. There were some things I eliminated, but for the most part, nothing I had done up until that point was wrong. But the realization that we go through this life one time was overwhelming to me. So being married and busy wasn't wrong, raising kids isn't wrong, working hard isn't wrong, but I found myself with this overwhelming fear that I was going to get to the end of my life busy and not fruitful. And I don't want that for my life, and I don't want that for anyone else's life. So first of all, before we go any farther, y'all said you'd participate. So this is one of those moments. I want y'all to take a hand and put it in front of your face and give me the biggest exhale that you can give me. You can put your hand down. You were given a gift of life. Today, you were given the gift of life as one more day to walk in your purpose. The gift of life was given to you today, one more day to worship your Creator. You were given the gift of life that has one more day to walk in your calling. You were given the gift of one more day so you can be kind to somebody, so you can forgive somebody, so you can right a wrong. You were given the gift today of one more day to live, laugh, and love. You were given a gift today. And I just want to stop here and just and pause and realize every single day is a gift. And what you have in your control is the ability of how the dash in between the dates on your tombstone is going to be executed. I don't want to get up every day and go to bed, every day go to bed, every day go to bed, every day go to bed, get to the end of my life and realize it's done. There's no more time. There's no more time to have headstand contests with my 10-year-old granddaughter. There's no more time to do cartwheels and show them that I'm 50, but I can still do a cartwheel. There's no more time to tickle and laugh and love. I'm done. There's no more time to be with my spouse and enjoy that friendship and that intimacy with us. I don't want to waste my life. I don't want that dash to just hold 2 dates on the end of it. Yep, she was here, and now she's gone. In Deuteronomy 30, 19 and 20, I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you today that I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the cursing. Therefore, you shall choose life in order that you may live, you and your descendants. How do we choose that life? By loving the Lord your God, by obeying his voice, by holding closely to him, for he is your life, your good life, your abundant life, your fulfillment, and the length of your days. You woke up with a gift today. And today, there's life in front of you, and there's death in front of you. And yours is the choice. If you don't have life in your life, it's your own darn fault. You're choosing wrong. So we need to examine our choices and realize how we can effectively change those choices and choose life. I love God. It's so cool because he says, I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. I'm going to help you out here. Choose life. Don't you just feel that pause? I feel like you're not going to make the right choice. Choose life. Let's see if this is the next slide. I may have got this one out of order. Yes, I did. All right. Ignore that one. Cover your eyes. All right. There's a slide coming later, so we'll see it later. Colossians 3:23. And whatsoever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto men. How many times do we get derailed in life because we're concerned about what others think? What are they going to say? What are they going to think? I have a new statement since my awakening. If you don't pay my bills, and you're not going to be my judge in the end, I mean, I care, but I don't care. I have a meter on the inside that God speaks to me. And he tells me when I'm wrong and I need to amend my ways. And then there are certain things that I enjoy that you might not think I should enjoy. But if I live my life unto you, and not by that, I'm not being true to me. You've got to listen to that voice and obey that voice. The difficult steps of totally letting God lead you is that we have this lie on the inside that somehow tells us that God doesn't want us happy or enjoying anything. You ever felt that way? Religion makes you feel that way. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. And there are things that we shouldn't do. But the difficult is that when we lay our complete life at God's feet, we feel like he's going to send us to Africa and make us eat bugs. Maybe that's just me. And yet, in John 10:10, the thief comes in order to steal, kill, and destroy. I came that they may have and enjoy life. And how are you supposed to have that life? In abundance, to the full, till it overflows. Woo! That's that living. I'm telling you, y'all are going to do it before we leave. You know that because you're interactive and you were in it. All right, now, this is the interactive part. I'm not going to have you do that or anything like this. But so you've been given a gift of a day. I want to know, what are some of the things in your life that have stolen that revelation away from you, and you didn't realize you had a gift, you didn't walk in that gift? What are those distractions, is what I'm looking for. Anyone?
My job.
Jobs?
Doubt.
Doubt? Good one.
Housework.
Housework. Anybody else? Grief. Great one. Children.
Challenging children.
Oh, children. Sister, they're all challenging. Some are more challenging. We've got like the spectrum of challenge here. 50 Shades of Challenging is what the book should be about children. Anybody else?
Fear.
Fear. Good one. Want to hear my list?
Regret.
Regret. It's on my list. Did you cheat? unresolved arguments. I used to have a relationship with a person that we would be together, and I'm trying to walk in love, and so then all the next day, or 2, or 3, I would think about the things I wish I would have said. Next time I'm gonna say, if I wasn't saved, this is what I'd say. How deep is the grace of God? I'm gonna test it and I'm gonna say this. I'd spend days chewing on that garbage. Lost all that time. And I can guarantee you this. Every person who's ever offended you, you're spending days chewing on it. They're skipping and giggling through their days. I promise you they are. Even if they don't look like they could skip. Anger, I think that was said. Hurt. I'm so hurt. I can't tell you how many times I spent on my bathroom floor, prostate, bawling my eyes out. Attacks that came in my life, attacks that came in my kids' life. Where are you? Days derailed by hurt, offense, money, lack of it, too much of it. You can get in the ditch on either side of the money. Regret, unforgiveness, all things that are just distractions in our life. I heard that one of the medieval forms of torture, where they tie a limb to each horse, 4 horses, a limb to each horse, I heard that's called distraction. Write that one down. The next time that you have relationship issues, money issues, health issues, Satan's got you on that distraction method. Can't even focus on God. I'm not even feeling saved. Just distracted. Question, a lot of these things involve our past. Hurt, regret, anger, offense. Why do we let the things of our past destroy our present and destroy our future? I heard it just this week that if you think about the rear view mirror, that is so hard to say. I have tripped up over that for days trying to say that thing. Rear view mirror. Think about the size of it compared to the size of your windshield. Your rear view mirror of life should be to glance back and learn, but to press forward. Proverbs 4:25 says, look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet and stay on the safe path. Glance behind and learn, look ahead and focus. That should be our life. Everybody get a mirror? Get your mirrors out. Anybody need a mirror? Do we have a slight raise of the hand? Can we have a mirror? Do you have mirrors? We have a couple. Lori and Norma didn't get a mirror. Get your mirrors, get your mirrors. I ordered these with Amazon Prime and they didn't come, and I was so concerned I was going to have 100 mirrors show up on Monday. What am I going to do with 100 mirrors? All right, everybody got a mirror? Get your mirror. Alexis. I'm telling you, they were like this, though. In your defense. Got your mirrors. Everybody got a mirror. Oh, see, I see that hand. Hallelujah. Got yours. All right, everybody grab your mirror. With the mirror side facing you, I want you to, on your mirror, look at it. Do you see fog? If you can fog a mirror, you're not dead. Did everybody pass? Oh my goodness. You can't fuck a mirror? Did you fuck the right side? Psalms 34:19 says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. But the verse doesn't end there. And yet we park it. I'm so afflicted. I'm so afflicted. I have many afflictions. And bad days do happen. There are seasons of life that are horrible. But the verse goes on and says, but the Lord delivereth you out of them all. Ever feel like you're not making traction in life? I love this picture. I'm not gonna lie. John 16:33 says, these things have I spoken unto you that, oh, keep your mirror out, by the way. In me, you might have peace. In the world, you're going to have tribulation. Well, that should be on a plaque and a bumper sticker. But the verse doesn't end there. But be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. All right, get your mirror out again. Fog it. That's really annoying in the microphone. Still see fog? Did you get fog? Okay. If you can fog a mirror, you're not dead. And according to those last verses, many are your afflictions, having tribulation. If you're not dead, God's not done. Don't sit in the land of afflicted and tribulation. You're building a house in the valley of death. Days are tough. I'm not making light of that. But I've been promised deliverance before the trouble comes. It's like Survivor. Anybody watch Survivor? Outwit, outplay, outlast. That's all you have to do. Outwit, outplay, outlast. 2 Corinthians 2:14 says, now thanks be unto God, which always causes me to triumph in Christ, and maketh manifest the savor of the knowledge by us in every place. All right. I may never be back after this next thing, and I apologize in advance. I want to have everyone stand up. You were given a name tag because if you do not participate in this next event, I'm calling you out. And I've got the microphone. And I already know your name, Beverly. This next one we are going to take. Are you ready? Oh, I don't feel like you are. Oh, that's the slide that's out of place. Oh, figures. It spins. If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion, for your passion will lead you right into your purpose. Now, we are going to have a 10-second dance party. I'm going to give you the guidelines. We don't twerk in church. This song is talking about clapping a little louder than before. Thank you. A stand up and a clap. It's like an ovation. All right, it's going to talk about jumping. Now, if all you do is this, I'm good with that. Don't break a hip. Come on now. Let's just keep it real, people. If you can't do that where you're at, there's aisles open. It's going to talk about singing louder than before, and the words are so easy. Oh, everybody can do that, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. And we're going to praise. Now, then it's going to switch up, and we're going to clap, and we're going to spin. Don't let me lose you on the spinning. If it's just this, I will accept that. Now, and it's got other things in it too. It's pretty self-explanatory. The it's going to be in there again. Now, it's going to have a dance party in it. I will warn you right now, because it's going to talk about dancing through your breakthrough. I started this song every day for 7 days while I watched my grandkids that are 12, 10, and 9. And when it got to the dance breakout, they stood there and went. apparently, I can't dance. I didn't know that. And so my 10-year-old granddaughter has mocked me endlessly. Guess who's going to be her dance chaperone? All right, no twerking in church. If you need room, get you some room. If I see you not participating, so help me. I should have worn my throat punch shirt today. Here we go.
Sing a little louder than before.
set before you life or death, blessing or cursing. Choose life. Have you sit down. Wasn't that fun? All right. How can we have this purpose, passionate life? First of all, realize true passion or purpose comes from the one who makes your heart beat. You were created for a time such as this. Do you realize you could have been born anytime? And you were perfectly placed now. I realized something, that with the parent thing, they were just a vessel. I needed to get in this time frame. My parents got up every day and chose life or death. That's on them. I was placed through them for my time. So get over it. It's hurtful. And it took me 35 years. God is the author of life. God has already given you everything that pertains to life and godliness. Everything. According as his divine power has he given unto us all things that pertain to life and godliness. He wants to give you life. And that life he wants you to enjoy. Examine your life for a second. Ooh, that would have been cooler if it worked the first time. Did I suck the battery up? Thank you. What ignites your passion? When's the last time you celebrated yourself? When is the last time you did something so wonderful? Oh, was the way you accelerated? When was the last time you couldn't control it? If somebody were to sum up my passion, it would be weightlifting. And you're not wrong, but it goes deeper than that. My passion is to be better tomorrow, better today than I was yesterday. If it's in the gym, I want to be 1 kilo more. If it's in church, I want to write a bigger check than I've ever given. I want something that's going to stretch me. I want to be more obedient, even in the tough stuff. When it comes to relationship, I'm not comfortable you just knowing me and my family. I want to have a friendship with you. If it's in the area of my janky attitude, I may or may not still have a janky attitude from time to time. I examine what triggered that response. And how can I set myself up to not respond like, because I don't want to be that girl. I want to be better today than I was yesterday. That's my true passion. So I'm going to challenge you. I have a strange sense of humor. Next slide. Challenge you every day to find a Ric Flair moment. Oh, you just saved some money for your family. Woo! You didn't tell your husband everything that was on your mind. Woo! You didn't kill that challenging child. Woo! Every day ought to have a Ric Flair moment in it. And did we go too far? What's the next one? Okay. Get rid of egg-sucking dogs in your life. What's an egg-sucking dog? You know what they are. Those things that stop you from having a Ric Flair moment. Because there are things that just suck the life out of you. This is not your spouse, though. I'll just put that in there. And it's not your kids. Get rid of egg-sucking dogs. Spend time really examining what you truly enjoy and want every day. For me, it's fun. I can do any amount of tasks as long as I'm having fun. Now, I do accounting. Isn't that fun? But yet, I will find certain things to do. As I'm invoicing, I try to challenge myself to have all the bill stuff entered, bam, before the printer stops running. I love that. I try to keep the calculator constantly going with no break as I'm adding up the checks. I will infuse fun in the most menial tasks that you can imagine. Find something fun. And it doesn't have to be my kind of fun. It's your kind of fun. What do you enjoy? What are you passionate about? Recently, I've been feeling that there's more of this in my life. It's so funny, we were talking earlier, when I had the crippling insecurity issue and no self-worth, I could not do an oral book report because you had to talk in front of people. And I would jiggle the podium, and I would read, and I would just try and read it fast as head down. I would get criticized all the time because I made racket at the podium, and I didn't have any eye contact, and I talked way too fast. Well, I've been delivered. But because when you realize that I'm accepted in the beloved, then I'm not afraid. I have made some of the biggest goof ups verbally and realized I didn't die. If I ain't gonna die, and that could be the worst that could happen, everything else from there is good, right? I try to have fun in everything that I do. And recently, as of last Sunday, I will be starting a weekly podcast. So, that's a shameless plug. Be looking for it. We go beast mode in the gym, and my podcast is going to be called Beast Mode Christianity. How to take what we hear, move it into the do. Because it's not being a hearer of the word, it's being a doer that's impressive to God. So I want you to look at the things you're involved in and infuse your main desires into those areas. I personally didn't have a lot of positive affirmation. We live on 12 acres. I used to call the boys from the backyard. They'd be in the back. Eric, ready now, carrot! They would come in. I love you guys. You called us in for that? Yeah, go play. As they became teenagers, I realized that the biggest problem in our lives is that we think we're missing something. Well, if I just had your personality, if I just had your ability to do this, if I could just, if I was like that or like this, and we get caught in the death of comparison, which is the thief of joy, by the way. And so I began to affirm my boys. You have everything it takes to be what God wants you to be. You just got to find it and develop it. But you've got it already. I do that with my grandkids. My granddaughters, I do threaten to throat punch them. But that's just because I love them. But I also tell them, you're so beautiful. You are so talented. My goodness, you're good at that. Affirming those, because I missed it in my life. All right, I got Kleenexes up here for one reason, and it's my next slide. I lived 35 years trying to impress my parents. Couldn't do it. Tried to get love, acceptance, and they probably do, but they were raised in alcoholic homes and told every day they weren't wanted. And I don't think they know how to communicate what I felt like I needed most. This is a testimony of God's faithfulness. I got this in July. My 10-year-old granddaughter, who is my mini-me, affirmed me that I leave nobody behind. I have a huge heart. I push to the limit. I include everyone. The girl knows I love donuts. I think ahead. I never give up. And she told me she loved me. God's faithful. where it's going to come from for you, but I promise you it'll come. I want you to, that song that you sang about I am blessed and I'm whole and I'm healed, I wish I'd have paid attention. I probably knew that you were going to sing that song and didn't get a chance to look at, well, it's not like it would have worked on. If I tried to look it up, all of my electronics hate my guts. But there's a little curly-haired meme of a little girl who's talking in the mirror standing on her bathroom counter. You are this and you are that. I think you need to do that. You have everything it takes as you are right now. Your Creator is crazy about you. He loves you. And let me tell you this. He knows all your janky parts. He loves you anyway. The Bible says that while you were yet a sinner. So I always try to think about, like, what if I was out there just sinning, like on steroids? You know, like all the bad stuff. All of it. While you were a sinner, Christ died for you. And yet we get into church and we think we have to earn it. And you don't. Some of my most anointed prayers to God have simply been, help! I'm not going to make it! God, why? He can handle that. Because you're not faking Him by not doing it. We're going to sing a song about being gracefully broken, and I was thinking about that, and that's why I was looking at my phone earlier. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I believe that there is a process, and I could not confirm it, but in pottery, I believe that they take broken vessels of clay, and they smash them up and refire and remake them into product, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to be talking about being gracefully broken. God's not trying to break you down for any other reason. The layers of the onion weren't to make me realize you're terrible. Oh my gosh, you do that? That has to go. Ugh. That's not why He does it. He does it so when He puts you back together, you're that new creation created in Him. And so we're going to sing that song, and I have no idea really how we're going to close this out from here, probably with a Ric Flair moment, but the whole reason I'm here is I hope to inspire the fact that you're created for a purpose. You have a calling on your life, and I want to ask you to do what you have to do to live your life. If you have something in your life you don't like and you can fix it, fix it. If you have something in your life that's not the way you want it and you have the power to change it, change it. If you have something in your life that's not how it should be and you can do nothing about it, let it go. It's frozen all over. I wasted a lot of days. And I want to encourage you to not leave here and waste another. If you have young children, they grow up. Enjoy every rotten phase that they put you through. Because I promise you, you're going to look at grandkids going, oh, I miss that. Throwing a hissy fit because they can't have something. It's so cute. It's a short season. It feels like forever. If you are a young adult in this place, oh, I know it's wrong to envy, but man, the world is at your feet. You've got so much time to become everything that you're here for. Discover it. Walk walk in it. If you're in my age group, which is the middle age group, I'm starting to get at that place where when I'm at a restaurant and there's young children that are crying, I am that lady who's like, oh, why is there a screaming child at Carrabba's? I'm not at McDonald's. Had that thought, and here's how God fixes Marnie. Told you, he lets that janky thought process. God says, buy their meal. I remember trying to have a meal and hope to God they wouldn't scream the whole time. So I bought their meal. And if you have a lot of natural highlights in your hair, I need your wisdom on how to get there. So the praise and worship team's going to come. We're going to sing. We're going to close. We're going to eat.